I'm very glad that you're watching the Kenya television service, and thank you so much for tuning to watch the Entrepreneurial Spark program. I'm your host, Regina Orlando, in our today's show, and with me is our resident panelist, Mr. David Sergon and Mr. David Langat, an entrepreneur. Welcome to the show. David, yes. Welcome once again to our show today. We are seeing this windmill here. Could you please tell us more about it?
Okay, this windmill, it's my innovation. It is working to the satisfaction of a local farmer, and I think it is serving him well because I've not had any complaints. Now the way this thing is working is you can put a windmill on any source of water. So, irrespective of any source of water, you are going to apply it. Yes.
So, what motivated you to come up with this windmill as opposed to the other one that you are used to?
Okay, this what motivated me, I wanted to make simple irrigation on my back door garden irrigation, and I thought, how am I going to make my plants have water regularly without me straining? Yeah, so I came up with this idea of a windmill with the principle of a hand pump. I used to modify that if a reciprocating kind of movement is made from hand, why don't I make it from wind? Yes.
Mr. Sergon, what do you think about Mr. Langat's innovation?
Thank you. I think Mr. Langat is doing the right thing. At the moment, when you look at global directives with regard to energy, we are moving from the fossil energy to green, clean energy. And if you look at windmill and solar, these are actually some of the examples of clean, green energy. Now, if you look at most people who are using this, they are trying to use this so that they can be able to have perpetuity in terms of water supply. So as long as you have a borehole and you have installed this particular windmill, you are safe because you'll have water all the time. Number two, Kenya, we've got a problem with regard to food insecurity. This insecurity is caused by what we call intermittent rains. We have seasonal rains, so much so that when most part of the year is usually dry. Now, to address the issue of food insecurity, then we need to think about what we call not rain-fed kind of farming. So we are talking about irrigation. And it will be very important that if you are using this and you have permanent water that cannot be exhausted within the season, you can still do your irrigation and you can be able to farm continuously. The concept of greenhouse is based on availability of water, but you should not really be thinking about greenhouse all the time. If you have water and you have your farm, you can still do farming without necessarily looking for these other materials that are meant to make the greenhouse. So it is important that we are seeing a very smart innovation, and I can bet it is very cheap. It could be about 10% of the cost of the real product that we import from other countries. So if farmers, small-scale farmers, and even large-scale farmers can perhaps maybe install this, well and good, they'll be doing well.
Mr. Langat, could you please give us the different specifications of your windmill?
This windmill has been made in such a way that you have, when you have a local wind speed, of which it is now creating some problem, I'll elaborate that later. Always what I do go to a site where I am to install windmill and see the wind barriers, like trees. And before that, I should know the wind speed of a particular area by getting information from the meteorological department or any airport near or airstrip. Yeah, they give free data of how speed is going. Yes, about my windmill, I think it is a very simple structure whereby you invent that reciprocating movement and put a force pump beneath.
You're talking about what exactly do you mean with that?
I mean up and down stroke.
Okay.
Yes, up and down stroke.
Right.
Owing to the movement of an hand pump, whereby it has a foot pump that has up and down movement with a play of valves closing and opening.
Right.
So the windmill pumps water by an upward movement only. When it is coming down, all the valves that are going are on the lift piston opens, and the foot valve closes. When it is coming up, the lift valves closes and lifts water.
Right.
So the only source, the only outlet of the water is only the reservoir. There's no way the water that has come inside the pump of a mill is going back to the hole.
Oh.
Yes.
So you are continuing with the description?
Yes, the description. This is like I said, it has a very simple mechanism. We do some short like manualing the owner on how this is going to be used. Normally, it is being lubricated twice a year. That is only in 6 months' time. And the mechanism, if the reservoir is full, there's a mechanism of how to close it. We use these ropes to either deviate the rotor from the wind or direct it to the wind. Yes.
So how deep, for example, is this borehole here?
Okay, this borehole is 42 feet down. And this mill pumps around 6,000 liters per day. Let's say you have around 6 hours of good wind, like that is the data of this area. So every hour, you're going to have 1,000 liters. So in a day, you're going to have 6,000 liters. But it can be more if you see the wind is never even.
Yeah.
But the list data we use is that we during dry season, there's a lot of more wind than the normal data that is average 6 hours. So when we install a mill, we do usually ask the owner of how much water he needs, so that we calculate as per the rotor and the wind speed.
All right.
Yes.
Mr. Sargon, could you please bring in the entrepreneurial aspect to it?
Yeah, I think the innovation is very important. And if you look at what he said, depending on the depth and depending on the consumption of the consumer, you need to determine the rotor that you want. I mean, the rotor that you want to, the diameter that you want to develop. So that if I'm a small-scale farmer and I have maybe 12 feet water borehole, he'll customize the mill to suit my needs. If we go maybe to other areas where you need like 300 feet borehole to be installed, I think the rotor is different. So that is the mechanism where now you differentiate your product. That you, because you are this deep, I'm giving you this at cheaper price. Because you are deeper, then I'll give you this. So I think that is the innovative strategies that he's using. But I think also most of the consumers that use this product may not really be utilizing it as it's supposed to be. Because if you are telling me you can have 6,000 liters of water, and assuming the water is permanent, I don't think most consumers consume 6,000 liters. If you have like dairy cattle, they consume like 1,000 liters per day. The question again that will arise is the 5,000 liters, what will you do with it? So it means that if you install this kind of thing, you become a serious entrepreneur, so that if you are doing dairy, you can still do some other horticultural irrigation, so that you maximize on this, because you've been granted an opportunity to receive water without necessarily paying a single cent. What you want to do is you do the installment only, and then that service you're saying something every 6 months, that will cost you even 100 shilling. Buy some grease, 100 shilling for 6 months. I mean, it is really the way to go. Yes, the way to go.
Mr. Langat,
yes.
from the name, it's a windmill.
Yes.
So does it mean that it only operates when there is wind?
Of course, yes.
Oh, so
It
what
only-
happens when there is no wind?
Okay, what happens? We usually tell our customers to have a very big reservoir, so that when there is a lot of wind, they store the water. I think in this area, you can never stay around 2 to 3 days without wind. Mostly, it may miss a day, so that the water in your reservoir serves you on the day the wind is not available.
Right.
Eh,
The Entrepreneurial Spark takes a short break, but we'll be right back after a short while. Stay tuned to KTS, and when we come back, we are going to take you to the reservoirs and how this farmer, the owner of this windmill, is utilizing the water that he gets from here. Stay tuned to KTS.